When it comes to what it is happening on the ground in Gaza, let's talk to Jonathan Fowler, who's a senior communications manager for UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees. Jonathan, we know that as part of this initial ceasefire agreement, aid relief is coming into Gaza. Just talk us through the levels at which it's coming in. Is it enough? And we understand that there is a desperate need given the destruction across the Strip.
The amount of aid that's getting into the Gaza Strip it would be massively overgenerous to even call it a drop in the ocean. It's just not enough. Something is better than nothing, one could argue, but this is a population who have been starved, man-made famine, absolute desperate situation. For 2 years, and the level of aid has to be scaled up. It has to be scaled up massively. There's no question about that. But in the meantime, we're continuing to work flat out on the ground. But the kind of aid, for example, that my agency is able to get in is zero because we've not been allowed to bring anything in by the Israeli authorities. And yet we have enough food for 3 months sitting outside the Gaza Strip.
Are they explaining why you can't bring in the aid that you've got sitting just outside the borders?
Unfortunately not. This has been a constant throughout this war. Humanitarian operations by definition around the world are always complex. This is a particularly complex one. But the level of hurdles and the way the hurdles come and go and new hurdles appear has been the same throughout this war. Other actors, NGOs, some parts of the UN are able to get an amount of aid in, but the fact is, we have such a huge amount outside that we need to be able to get it in. And we're also the largest organization from the UN operating inside the Gaza Strip, so our staff need to be able to do their job to the full.
Now that we're seeing airstrikes being carried out by the Israeli military on Rafah, obviously you're in a position where you're not getting aid in yet, but are you concerned that potentially what is a very fragile ceasefire could unravel?
This is a deep concern. By definition, because the ceasefire provided hope, it provided a window of opportunity for us to be able to step up our work inside the Gaza Strip. And I want to emphasize, we have 12,000 staff inside the Gaza Strip. They have never stopped working. They're doing thousands of healthcare appointments every day in primary healthcare. We have tens of thousands of children who've been through our temporary learning spaces, in other words, basic education, play, and psychological support. And we've got hundreds of thousands of children who've been able to have access to online learning run by our teachers inside the Gaza Strip. So we need to be able to carry on doing that. Aid, of course, and getting more aid in is absolutely essential. But in the meantime, we have to also be able to continue doing our work and do it safely.
And when your team members are performing that work, obviously they are living and are conscious of their own safety within Gaza. How do you balance that when you are working under such difficult conditions on the ground?
It's very, very hard to balance this. Gaza is the most dangerous place in the world to be an aid worker. It's like it is the most dangerous place in the world to be a journalist. Tragically, we have had more than 370 of our team members killed, and there is no precedent for that kind of death toll amongst UN team members in the entire history of the United Nations. And yet our staff get up, they go to work every single day to carry on doing what they're committed to do. The point is, they need to be able to do more of it because the humanitarian situation is utterly catastrophic.